tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey, what's up, everybody? You are tuned into AFTERBUZZ TV for Power. I am your host, Bamm Ericsen, and I would like to introduce my panel.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Kennelia.
I am Ayers.
And I'm Janeisha John.
And we have back in the AFTERBUZZ building, he plays the character of Victor. Please welcome Jarrell Lee Wesley to AFTERBUZZ. How are you?
Welcome back.
I'm good, thank you. I love hanging out with you guys.
Oh, we love hanging out with you too.
Thank you, Brad.
You do a great job.
Thank you.
Just a thought before we go into this. Is it me, but I have never witnessed watching a show that turns up every episode. It's like you think you know one thing, and then well, no, he's not dying. Okay, and then something else happens the next week. Oh, hell, this, like, say your line.
This my show. This my show.
Yeah. Especially you, Bam, because you kill somebody every week. So you real surprised every week. Like, they still here?
Bam's killed everybody.
Even your children.
You got
I didn't kill you, though.
It might be coming, though.
Yeah, but I was pleasantly surprised to see more of Lobos in this episode. What about you guys?
Yeah, it's making it more real, part of the story. So I agree with that. You too?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And we're learning a lot more about Lobos, too.
Let's just, were you shocked that he's gay?
I don't know about shocked. Why, Kennelia?
Because you just never know nowadays. You know, like there's never a stereotype like there used to be. Like, oh, girl, he gay. Like you don't have that anymore. So when I saw that scene, I was like, oh, okay.
There you go.
And I was like, oh, cool.
For me, it was interesting to see, I guess, a gay guy just kind of be in that position. Because in most cases, they try to make, and I'm just putting it out there, like, they would try to make a gay guy not seem as masculine, in the sense that he's not, going to be there like killing people and the badass of the entire organization. So it's refreshing to see that, just like it'd be just like straight up, So that's what I got from it.
That's exactly where I was coming from. I thought it was refreshing because although he's gay, don't test him because how quick he was able to catch when the girl in the hotel was trying to cap his boyfriend. Like he's very quick, he's very smart, and why can't someone who's gay, why can't he be the biggest kingpin drug lord of the world?
I don't know. I mean, I just figured that he swings both ways. I don't know if he's gay or if he swings both. I mean, it doesn't matter, but I wasn't necessarily shocked when I saw that scene. But it kind of goes with his character too. He's very like loosey-goosey. Do you guys get that from Lobos? Like he's a trip. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of, it's fun to see, but also he loked up. Remember when this side guy started talking a little bit and he grabbed him by the throat? I was like, oh, Lobos got it. You know?
Agree. The task force. Oh, did you have?
No, go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead. You guys are on it, man.
Is it me? But I find the task force to be quite stupid. What make you think that you are going to just catch Lobos, the biggest drug kingpin of the world, and Tommy just exchange? Oh, we're just gonna catch him and we're just gonna catch them exchanging drugs, and then we're gonna take. That's not a plan.
He's so mad.
That's not a plan to me. What? Is it
so mad.
So
somebody needs to be in the writer's room.
It doesn't make sense.
Right. What didn't make sense to me, I guess ultimately it worked out for them, but what didn't make sense was the fact that they just took everything that Angie said. It was like Greg was like, "Oh, so you got a tip, you got a clue," and so he's like, "All right, switch it up," just based on that.
She took the picture. Remember, she took the picture and she sent it to him, and it was time.
But even still, like, wouldn't you? If I'm a task force and this is what I do, like, aren't you looking further into it? Aren't you being like, okay? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just
or
me.
have a backup like send people there and have the people at the old place.
Yes.
We're running out of time, man. We didn't have that much time.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
We had to move. We had to move the story on.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
That's just technical shit.
We're reading too deep into it, guys. No, but I mean, I do think in real life, maybe they did send somebody to the other location. We just didn't see that part. I do agree, though. I think when it comes to actual, going after a big drug dealer like this, it takes a lot more, thought and effort. They're not just gonna move like that. I don't think so.
Right.
But I mean, we're living in TV land right now too.
And then the whole time at the task force, every time Angie walked in, she was like on the brink of tears. Like, she sat down and she was like, the whole time, like, girl, put your gay face on.
Right.
She came in the meeting. What did I miss?
And then you always late.
She was late.
And you on probation.
I know, and it bothers me every time. And then Greg is the only one that notices. He's like, as she leaves, I'm just like, what's up?
Nobody
like, this whole
else
situation, need to be set down.
Yeah.
I mean, but don't you guys think? Okay, so for me, and I was talking with some friends about this. I was wondering, like, if you're down for your guy, right, and you in the back of your mind think that he might be this ghost character, you're gonna try and protect him. At least that's what I think, right? But I think at this point, like you're saying, she's crying all the time. She's going in these meetings. Nobody's paying attention to Angela. Maybe this is why she feels she has to prove herself so much. So
maybe I just see it as if you have a feeling that your man is the dude that they're really looking for, you go in the task force meeting on time. You know everything that's going on, everything that they're saying, in case they really are about to show up at his front door. So you can be like, oh shit, they're about to show up at his front door.
Right.
She leaving half the day. Her and Ghost having sex. Like, she's just hanging
They're
out.
not paying attention to her.
They're not.
She's
Yeah.
not. She got demoted and everything. So she kind of strolls in when she wants to. They're just not paying attention to her. We get to see that she knows a lot more than they know, but they don't know that she knows so much.
Yeah.
At least that's how I see it.
I agree.
So.
Thank you for getting us back to reality over here, because we all up in our feelings. Like, why don't they see her? He's like, listen, chill out, hold up.
You got to get into their world.
Yeah.
Their world.
Yeah. Good point.
How they live, So if Bamm's late here, you're like, dude, where you at? I don't know. Everybody's important here, but I'm just saying. Somebody just strolls in who's not as important or got a demotion. They're just kind of, whatever.
Speaking of demotion, there's a lot to discuss with Kanan. So now Kanan decides to get all of the local druggie, the crew. He gets them all to then go against Ghost and Tommy. I feel like I'm bashing the show, but I'm really not. But so they all come together, and they think that they're going to come to this meeting and just go up to Lobos and say, "Hey, we're the new,
We're it. This is it."
his organization is no longer, we're doing our own thing now. I don't know. I think it's retarded.
I read an article where someone was talking about the show, and they wrote this. This is what's going on with Ghost and Tommy, but their drug ring is poorly run. They need to talk to Nino Brown. So they can understand how to do this thing. So, but I read that in an article.
I don't think the way they're running the drug business is bad. I just think that Kanan, he has a street mentality, and I don't think he's smart enough to think that he can actually go into this meeting. He doesn't know where they're at. He just knows that they're at the hotel, and that he and all Kanan, Dre, Vlad,
Jamaican.
the Jamaicans, and Ruiz, y'all all gonna just show up to the hotel.
Like, hey,
We're not with
Lobos.
it.
Right. But okay, so let me give Kanan some credit real quick.
Okay.
He's institutionalized. And if you ever dealt with anybody who's institutionalized, still come out like it don't even matter. You know what I mean? Like, we on straight. This is what we do. You know what I mean? And so this is kind of the mindset that he has, that it's like it doesn't even matter, so to speak. And that's kind of what I give him credit for. Like, he's so bold. We talked about, you know, how you just get out and you already looking for pink sneakers, you know, several episodes ago. And this is the mindset that he has. So I kind of, not that I'm saying it's right, but I kind of feel him. Like, yeah, you bold enough to just try to put some type of plan together like that. And guess what? It might just work.
Yeah. And now I'm going to flip on this. Now I want to give him props for the fact that you got everyone who has been working for Tommy and Ghost all this long. He completely flipped shit. We haven't seen him in like 2-3 episodes, and he really came and he really wrecked shit this episode. And so I give him props for that.
Based on his reputation alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he's still, if you thinking, because he says this multiple times in the show, he's like, listen, I'm the one who taught them everything that they know. Yeah. And the streets are very aware of who he is. So he still, in his mind, has this clout. You know what I'm saying? So no wonder he moves the way that he does.
It's very arrogant. But my thing is, for the people who are joining up with Kanan, yes, he was the one who got Ghost and Tommy established, and yes, he's the one who taught them everything they know. But you got locked up for. I'm not following nobody that got busted. Like, you got caught, bro.
But not really. The fact that he is making it seem like Jamie, well, like Ghost is the reason why he got locked up.
They don't know that. Well, they're like, they don't know.
Right. Well, that part is true. That part is true.
They're like, oh, let's follow Kanan. He's great.
But he knows that is true. So his mentality has not been affected, because he's like, the only reason I got caught is because y'all set me up.
Right.
But I hear that.
Yeah. He's rallying the troops, and if you're the guy who needs distributors, right? He shows up. He's like, yo, I'm Kanan, and the rest of New York's behind me, so what you want to do? You know what I mean? Of course. Why wouldn't you think that way? Anybody who, the show is called Power, anybody who's looking to gain that power and do that, man, that's the mentality he's going to have. You know, he had that obviously before he went to prison, and he's been institutionalized. He comes out, he still thinks he's the stuff, right? He rallied the troops, he shows up with everybody behind him, then, you know, Ghost and Tommy, they're like obsolete, so they probably would die right there. But I'm just saying, I think Kanan has that type of mindset where, like, logic and reason, like, he's like, forget that, like, I'm getting back on top, and these two are in the way.
I think it's, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, so in a situation like that, I don't know if you can speak on it, but would Victor follow Kanan if he had the whole of New York behind of him?
I can't say.
Okay. I figured, but
I follow somebody.
Right.
That much I know.
Well,
even though you won't see me anymore this year, but follow somebody.
So you're done. We don't see any more. You're not in episode. Okay.
You made it out alive, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's all that matters right now. Stand up.
That's right. To kill you.
Right.
Let the church say amen. Speaking of logic, I think Kanan did excellent job at playing the shit out of his son Sean.
Oh yeah,
he's been doing it.
Yeah, he's very manipulating.
But he did it in a very old school way. It's almost like high school. I can climb up better than, it's like one of those things where you tell somebody that they can't do it, and of course then they prove them wrong, and then they
like
do it.
Reverse psychology.
It was just, I don't know, like.
I think that. Yeah, you're right, and I agree. That's he slayed that whole part. But I think you could only do that with somebody like Sean. You know what I'm saying? Because Sean is just gullible, dude. Like I like the guy, but he fell for that. You know what I mean?
He also pulled that Uncle G robbed us of our years as a father son. So he definitely pulled that, and I was like, ooh, yeah. If you just touch into his inner child just now.
But do you think that worked?
I think it kind of did. I think it kind of sealed the deal, because he's this little kid who didn't get to spend time with his dad. He wants this relationship. He sees Dre and other people being close to Kanan, so he's like, oh man, like that. Just that little boy who's like, and he's banging Ghost, his wife. So he's hearing all that, and he's like, and Ghost got my girl.
That's the only like man thing he's done so far. Not that you know, it's not good, man. You don't mess with nobody's wives. You play with your life. But I'm just saying, you know, everything else is all just wet behind the ears, man. Like you say, and Senqua does a good job because he is, like I heard Joe say, he's a goofball. He's funny, he's silly, he's a really nice guy. But man, he's just such a baby. Like on the show, easily manipulated by Tasha, by Kanan now, and so
and the fact that Dre also jumped in as well, you know, saying something in reference about killing ghosts, also added fire to the feud because they have this beef that I don't understand. Why does Dre and Sean have a beef with each other? Because of a look?
I think because Dre knows that Sean is a simp. Because whenever Dre sees him, he's like in the car with his suit on, not really getting his hands dirty. They out here, it's 15 below on the block, and Sean is like, dude, I'm over here, like waiting in the car. He's in the Uber. So he feels some kind of way, you know what I mean? Like they out here living that life, and Sean is just like opening up the door for ghosts. He's probably just like,
and banging his wife
and sleeping with his wife. He just probably just doesn't like him.
And not to mention, I think Kennelia touched on it earlier, that Dre has more of the qualities I think that Kanan would want in his son than Sean does. So it's like, he knows, like, yo, you know, Dre's a badass and I'm just kind of like, here, I'm the goofball. So yeah, I think that plays a little bit to see how close and how, I guess, how much alike they are, and he's not, you know, like that. So.
You know what I think though? You know how people are where you ever walk by somebody and like you give somebody like a dirty look and then that person don't got nothing against you, but then they give you a dirty look like, you know, what's up? I think Sean initiated this. Like Sean is like, Dre, like you that close to my dad kind of deal. And remember when Dre was meeting up with Ghost and then Sean, that whole scene where they walked by each other and they gave each other the dirty look. Sean, I think, was the initiator, and he was like looking at him. So I think Dre was just like, well, you know,
what's up?
Yeah, I think that's more. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe it is something deeper than that they have a mutual beef. But I think Dre was just more like, you know, you got a problem with me, I got a problem with you, son.
Right. And I think all of you guys are onto something. And looking at Sean, that character, here's like he was raised by his mother, and this is very important. Like in real life, like single moms do a great job raising men. Well, raising men, but they can't teach a man how to be a man. Only a man can do that.
Yeah.
So I think in Sean we see some of these qualities or things that he lacks because his father wasn't around for 10 years, probably all those years. I think Sean in the show as well, like maybe 21, 22 or something, you know, so he missed all these years where there's this rites of passage passed down from my father, even though they're in this criminal game, but still, you know what I mean? He really, I think that's why he comes off as soft because, you know, a woman can only teach a man so much.
Yeah.
I heard Steve Harvey tell Oprah one day, you know, she was like, what do you mean, you know, a woman can't raise a man? And Steve goes, well, you know, when a man goes to the restroom, you know, he has to do this.
Yeah.
And she's like, what is that? He's like, you know what I'm talking about.
I just
right. They're looking at me like,
we know. I think we know what you're talking about.
Trying to keep it smooth.
Right. I'm just saying. So, like, you know, I think that's why Sean's comes off a little wet behind the ears. And, you know,
but do you think there's some truth to the fact that he maybe has like a little disdain towards Dre because he's so close with Kanan? Like Kanan is sort of raising Dre like a son.
Absolutely, you know, and he probably sees that, man, this dude is tough, and he might know within himself he's not as tough, even though we saw a little moment where he was tough because Senqua is like 6 inches taller than and I'm like, but so you know, he's probably not really afraid of him. But I mean, the dude can't even shoot a gun, man. You know.
Yeah.
He learned it. He learned it.
How he was holding that gun. I think that's a choice. Obviously, Senqua made. You know.
Yeah.
On how to hold that gun. He was like the feet were backwards and everything.
Yeah. I have a feeling by the time the end of the season is over, when there's this big shootout this bloodbath that's gonna happen that I'm predicting, he's gonna know how to shoot that gun. But going back to Dre, what I'm liking about his character is he's playing both sides.
Yes.
So he's Team Dre. I'm sorry, he's Team Kanan in Kanan's face, and then he's Team Ghost on the other side. And so I'm wondering
Who he really wants to be.
who's the real Dre?
Right, very, and I would have asked that question maybe previous to episode 8. But in my opinion, is it just me that he seems like now it's a done deal since Ghost sort of like was like
Shunned him.
go home. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like now maybe he's like, oh well, you've chosen for me, kind of.
I don't think that's done though. I don't think so either. I think the fact that he was even like, you have a daughter to raise, like I think there's just going to be this level of respect. He might be a little bitter right now, but I think overall, like his goal is to be be what Ghost is, not Kanan. That's what I think.
I agree, and I think that he has a lot of respect clearly because he came back to Ghost. You know what I mean? Like, so I definitely think that. I'm just thinking, do you think he feels a little bit?
I think he is salty, but sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I think he's salty, but it's kind of like a haze. Ghost couldn't be like, cool, you're down with me now, yay. Like he couldn't immediately do that. And I think as much as Kanan is going around pissing everybody off and just rubbing people the wrong way, Dre is gonna have like another opportunity to go back to Ghost, or Ghost come to him and be like, okay, so
What's up?
what's up? Because Kanan is a loose cannon, and Kanan doesn't really care about anybody. So I see that happening at some point.
I think Dre knows that Kanan is that ruthless too. It's just like he killed his friend. Like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And not only that, but his whole goal, according to Kanan, was to go and get information so that he can figure out the whole Lobos thing. I think Dre, his part of his intention was to go down there and see how far he was going to be able to go. And being that Ghost didn't give him that information, I felt that he was expecting to be turned down and sent away. So that's why I don't feel he was in his feelings that much. I feel like the whole message with, you have a daughter, take your ass and go home, resonated more with him versus he was butthurt because he couldn't get in. Because anyone who's in them streets, as Kennelia likes to say it, if you get information that quick or that easy, I would assume that you wouldn't trust that person as much because you have to put in time before
Get a little dirt on your hands first. So to speak. I hear that. I hear what everybody's saying.
Yeah, when I look at Dre, I see. I mean, maybe tell me what you guys see. I see like, man, this maybe could be what Ghost was like. You know what I mean? And because he talked to him about getting out of the game. And so, and I think in that game, in any game of business, you have to play both sides of the field of whoever you're dealing with, man. You have to kind of be that way. Coy, and so you want to live, you know what I mean?
True.
Because you don't cooperate in that game, you're dead. Then the other thing is when you try to find an outlet. I don't know anybody wants to be a dope dealer when they're 70.
Right.
Italian mafia, I guess that's what they do. But,
No, that's true.
But that's they're not the Italian mafia.
Right. Right.
I mean, we kind of spoke. I mentioned that I think that Dre is gonna eventually be like working towards being like Ghost. That's what I see, and I'm hoping that that's what kind of.
I see coffin.
We say that for prediction. I said for the last episode, remember you guys how I really did like the way that Dre is moving. I like the fact that he could go to different people by himself, and he's sort of making his own moves, and so I think that he's a little bit more wise than he's even. We're sort of putting him like, okay, you siding with Kanan because you want to shoot up Ghost or whatever, but I think he's a little bit like he's from the street. You gotta be smart. You have to be savvy in order to know what's really going on and who to play at the right time, so I think Dre's got a little bit of that going on.
Before we move on to Angela, I'm sorry, ladies, you all look beautiful. The hair's on fleek. I'm just, I'm distracted.
So sweet,
I'm sorry. So y'all look good. So Angela and this clone and the phone. I have my own theories about this, but I'm gonna let you go first. What are your thoughts? Is she cutting it too close? Is she getting on your nerves? What do you think about Angela?
She's so on my nerves. I'm sorry. I'm over Angela.
Well, my thing is, I understand the job, and I understand if she were strictly on a to know basis with Ghost as business only. Like I work for the feds and you are a drug dealer. Yes, clone the phone, whatever. But she is in love and in a relationship with this dude, so the whole time his phone will be going off, I will be thinking, oh shit, her phone is gonna go off at the same time.
Yes.
Like he's going to hear her phone go off too.
Yeah.
And it was just too much for me. It was too much.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the fact that she went from, okay, she's doing all this snooping and then she's being an informant, of course, to her team, but that she's trying to save Jamie, like, let's go, let's get away, like, make up your mind.
Yeah,
You're confusing me.
I hear, and the same thing got on my nerves too. So I understand, but I feel like she's literally just torn between career and love. And I'm not saying it's right, and it gets on my nerves, but I think that's the place that she's coming from. You want to save the dude and that you're in love with and all of that, which I kind of give her respect for, because I think that any woman could kind of relate to that. But I will say that it's not so simple. Like you didn't just clone his phone and that was it. Like I think it's something behind the scenes to that. I think that Ghost was like, okay, up on it already, and maybe that was his own tactic, because as we said yesterday when we had Joseph come in, what's up, Joseph? Thank you for coming in again, Joe. Okay, so the same thing that we said was that he masterminded this whole plan. So I feel like maybe it even dates back to him getting a phone that she could clone.
And that's where my theory comes. I believe that Ghost, this is all a part of this plan that we seem to be confused about. I think that he knew, I think this was his idea to make sure the phone was cloned, because if you think about it, he was at the Valley shoe store getting her shoes when she was following him. He was buying the shoes, so it wasn't like he was buying the shoes as a makeup gift to save his ass from being caught. He was already buying the shoes when he called, when Angela called. So I believe that he put all of this together. I also believe that with the clone in place, I believe that Ghost sent Lobos right to her. I believe that was Tommy's plan, and I also believe that Tommy is in on this whole entire ordeal, because when you look at the shootout, you only hear Javier's voice on the walkie-talkie. There was no, if Tommy was in the room when this happened, Tommy would have screamed. We didn't hear his favorite word, motherfucker. We didn't hear anything coming. We only heard Javier's voice. And then Tommy comes out kind of cool, and then he comes and sees Angela, and then that's when he makes this big scene. So I believe that this is Ghost's plan the whole entire time.
I was just going to say a couple of things. Based on kind of, you guys are all like, have some really, really good ideas about what's happening. But the last few episodes, I felt like people felt Ghost was kind of losing. You know what I mean? And what was great about this episode is you got to see Ghost. I'm in charge. You know what I mean? And I'm 5 steps ahead of everybody. Okay? And when he went to buy the shoes, of course, he went there. I think he possibly knew. You know, Angie might be telling him, but he went there to get what the card,
meeting,
right? The meeting place and everything, and of course you hear the siren go off, and so he knows.
I think at that moment he was like, wait. Okay, now I see. I think that was the moment where he realized what she was really doing, and then at that moment, I think he probably was like, okay, so I can use this to my advantage. I can text and do certain things. So she is sent to the hotel. So she is the person to find out that Lobos and potentially Tommy, because I think he knew Tommy was gonna get caught too, will be here. I think at that moment he put the plan in place.
Right, because he went to the lawyer.
Right. Exactly. Going back to the sirens. I always have to give credit to, I don't know if it's the director at this point, how they shoot the scene, what we see. Is that the director?
And the cinematographer and the DP.
All right.
The way it looks.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the DP.
All right, okay. So,
but I'm pretty sure some of it might be written in a certain way, but
the team, whomever was in charge of this scene, and let me just break this down real quick.
Courtney's in charge. So,
right. No. We always give Courtney her props. We always give her props.
In the end,
absolutely,
it's a team.
Absolutely.
That starts with her.
Okay, thank you. And so definitely that. But So this is how what I could appreciate so much, because the sirens go off, and the way that scene was shot was to make us think that it was Angela who heard the sirens. So Angela wanted to be like, oh, sorry, like, let me be careful because the sirens. But I think that was really for Ghost to hear the sirens. Do you guys see what I'm talking about? Like, the way that it was shot was for us to see, oh, Angela recognized that the sirens are there. So she was, but it was really for Ghost. And that might come up at some point because the show, they do a fantastic job of, foreshadowing and all that. Did I break that down right? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Okay. I love that part. I love that.
And it all worked out, or all tied up, because at the end of the episode where you see him texting her like, hey, it's Jamie, got a new phone. Like, he knew the whole time. And she, at that moment, I think she knew that he knew. That's why she was like, she was, because she knew.
I didn't take it that way. I took it as Angie thought, oh my God, I was doing all this and I didn't believe my man, and I was so wrong. Throw the phone down.
No, I think she knew that she got set up because she saw Ghost walk into the hotel, and when Tommy came out and everything happened, she called him on the phone and was like, "Where are you, Jamie? Where are you?" Like, basically, I came here to get you locked up too.
Okay. And I took that scene too.
I don't know if she was trying to get him locked up, but because she was scared he was the one that got shot. She was all nervous, like, I need to identify his body.
But she knew he was going in there.
She did know, and she didn't technically save him because she could have said, listen, they are here. It's about to go down. She tried to pull it off, like, stay here with me, let's leave, and all that stuff, which didn't work. That was a big fail. But, I don't know that she wanted him to get locked up, but she definitely didn't save him either.
There she go being torn again.
He saved himself. That's right. Smart. Yeah, that was dope.
Okay, so going back to this whole setup, what are your thoughts about that? I've given my prediction, but Tommy and Ghost literally walk in seconds after each other. Ghost goes in first with the bag, and then Tommy goes in with the bag. I don't believe that there was money in the bag, because if you look at the storage space, the money was stacked here. There's all that money could not have fit in 2 bags. So I believe that their intentions was to never give Lobos the money.
Well, there was a scene that was cut out that actually I was in where we was loading up that big, bright, red-ass suitcase. That you got dope money in, But, and it was cut out. But I don't know if every dollar bill in there necessarily belonged to Lobos, But
so then why did Ghost say that he needed one more day? Because if that's the case, and the beginning of the episode there was all this money, so why would he need a couple more days to pay off Lobos?
He can't tell.
He was planning, he's getting all his ducks in a row.
Brothers think. See how it ended, man. That was a man in power at the end of that episode. Standing up high, looking down low on everybody else. I thought that was a great shot.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. That was the epitome of power. That was the epitome. Like, it was just the way that it was shot. Like, he's standing high. So that's why I agree. That was pretty cool.
It's like chess. Because it was like a chess game.
Okay, what are your thoughts about Tommy in jail? Do you think that Tommy is... because Tommy was against wanting Lobos to be killed, because if you kill the top drug lord in the world, then where does that leave us? Obviously, Tommy and Tasha want to continue slanging, and Ghost doesn't. And so there was conflict, like we said in the interview with Joseph, we finally have seen conflict between Ghost and Tommy, where they're at odds and they have not made peace as they normally do. So what's your thoughts about when you guys saw Tommy coming out? Did you think that it was going to be him? Did you think it was going to be Ghost? What's your thoughts on that?
I thought it was going to be Tommy. I didn't at any point think that Ghost was gonna get caught. I didn't think so. But I will say this: when Joe kind of touched on it and brought it to light, I do think that maybe, of course, this is all part of Ghost's plan. But like he was saying, you and somebody are not on the same page, and you want to control the situation. The best thing to do is put them in a box that they can't get out. So I think again, him having Tommy, get arrested, it's all part of his plan to kind of control the situation.
Yeah. There was a scene where, and I think we actually talked about this when Joe was here, but I think it was episode 6 when Ghost came to Tommy's mom's house, right? And he was all like rattled because he was high and all of that, and he was paranoid, and he was like, Tommy told Ghost, this was your plan all along. Like, you've been trying to have me in front of the streets, be the face of the streets so that I could get locked up and you could go run off with Angela. So do you think it's possible that he actually, now that this sort of happened in a way, do you think that he's going to go back to thinking that?
Yeah. I do. Because Ghost hired that lawyer. So he obviously, Tommy might think, you obviously knew I was going to get locked up because you hired the lawyer.
Can I ask a question? Did any of you guys see the previews for next week?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because prior to that, prior to the whole lawyer thing, I wondered if the lawyer was for the divorce or if it was for Tommy. But I know the answer now. So yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So I think that Tommy is going to start, because when you have time to stew, you're gonna stew, and you can stew in prison because that's
you ain't got nothing to do.
Yeah, you don't got nothing to do. So I think Tommy is going to start, even if it's not true, he's gonna start being like, you know what, this is Ghost. He said he wants to get out. He's not leaving Angie alone. I saw her when I walked out, and I know Ghost walked into the hotel. I know he did, and he didn't come out with me. Ghost isn't in here.
And who's this lawyer dude?
Who's this lawyer dude? Like, I think Tommy is gonna start to feel a certain way.
I actually wondered if he was getting the lawyer for himself, and then even after the episode aired, I wondered if it was for him or for Tommy. But then you see that scene where the Ghost or the attorney is talking to Tommy. So
Okay, Jarrell, question. I know that a lot of times.
like, I don't want to talk. I'm going to
I know a lot of times in scripts that, for instance, you guys, it's literally like a full hour. So you have at minimum 60 pages. Yeah. But a lot of times in episodics, it can go 110, 112, and then they edit stuff. Was there any parts that was taken out in the script where we see what happens when they walk into the hotel?
Far as I can remember, it was written exactly the way we saw it.
Okay.
As far as I can remember, no. So that's, from what I remember, again, that was February or January or something like that. January, yeah. So it was written that way. So they walk in, and Ghost doesn't come out. So yeah.
There has to be a flashback. I want to see what happened when they walked into the hotel.
I know.
Yeah.
I need to see that. I hope there's a flashback.
Yeah, nothing really happened, because they went in, and next thing you know, the feds went in behind them, So nothing really happened. What would you want to see, really? Like,
right. Yeah.
Where Ghost is.
Yes.
Exactly.
He's in a different room.
He's at the bar in the lounge.
He's hanging out. And who knows? Tommy doesn't know he's not there. They show up in different cars, and they never, in public, they're never like seen. They're rarely ever seen together like that. And so Tommy, I don't think Tommy knew Ghost was there necessarily.
I just think Tommy totally hates Angela, well, of course, but he probably thinks that Angela is the reason why he's getting locked up. He has this real loyalty to Ghost. The only thing I think that's questionable, I guess, is when the liar comes into play. So I think that's when he'll probably start brewing, like you said.
Yeah. So. Okay.
Tommy's on edge right now. Look, he lost Holly.
Yeah.
Him and Ghost are at odds. He hates Angie.
Yeah.
He's locked up. Man.
Yeah.
Who knows what's
Free
about to go
Tommy.
down.
He couldn't do like he wanted and just kill Angela in any way.
Man, did you see the passion that he had when he was talking to her? He was yelling at her like,
he called her a cunt and everything.
Everything was like the worst of the worst.
He called Holly a cunt.
What did he do again?
But I still think Tommy was too cool you being cuffed walking outside. He didn't flip the lid until he saw Angela. But
Well, you kind of gotta act like you didn't do nothing. You kinda gotta walk out like, yo, I ain't do nothing. Like I'm innocent. When he saw Angela, he was like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, that's a good
that's
point.
a great point.
That's a great point. Okay, so you've already revealed to us that you're done, so we're not going to see you anymore.
No, and that's public. So, like, if you was on my IMDb, you'll see that this is my final episode this season.
Okay.
So, yeah, unfortunately.
So
This season.
there's nothing else you can give us. You know nothing else.
Yeah, I know stuff.
You can't give it to us.
Bam, stop. Look, you try to
Hey,
get.
I'd get fired. I'd get sued. And I ain't got nothing to give.
Well, can you tell us about the book, because that book is called Power, and Courtney, you said she really loves that book, and there's some similarities to.
Yeah, this is the 48 Laws of Power. I think 50 Cent wrote like 2 other laws.
yeah, it's like 50 Laws of Power.
Yeah, 50 Laws of Power. But yeah, Courtney turned me on to this book, and I started reading it, and I've been reading it like for some time because there's some darkness in this book, and you get a great history lesson, like world history lesson,
Wow. Okay.
going back centuries and centuries ago of how people and politicians and artists and how they played each other, how they played this game in order to, your goal is to achieve power. And there's been some chapters I would read, and I'd have to set the book down for like 2 days and be like,
Wow.
oh man, this is dark. This is really dark. And so in watching the show, I didn't know this because Courtney told me that I should read it. And so I started reading it, and then in watching the show, I'm like, oh man, this is that law. Or this is that law. Oh, this is this similar story. It's kind of fascinating to me.
Let me ask you a question. Do you pick up certain things from this show, like for real life, that make you think differently, or maybe it has enlightened you a little bit about how things work? Maybe streets. I mean, you seem like you know what's up, like like from the streets and stuff. But I'm saying, has it enlightened you even more?
Absolutely, and I'm constantly learning. I'm like I call myself a late bloomer because there was a period of my life where I didn't read anything, and as I've gotten older, I've started to read more than I've ever read. And so definitely in watching the show and reading this book and other books, I recognize just things in life and how they happen, and I'm like, sometimes it's amazing. Like, reading is fundamental, and you should read, because I'll have conversations with people and something will come out of my mouth and I'm like, I got that from somewhere.
Wow.
So it's kind of when I was 20, that wasn't happening. It was all about what rapper saying what, man.
Yeah.
Oh, Trick Daddy, what'd he say?
Yeah.
I was on Trick Daddy and Trina back
That's
then.
a throwback for real.
Trying to pull up to my bumper, baby. Here I am. But definitely, yeah. And watching the show and other shows also, I see the same thing, man. And it was, you see a lot of Shakespearean stuff in Power, and other shows also. Great writers, man. They pull from the greats way before them.
Speaking of a throwback, I just want to acknowledge, last night I was watching you on The Proposal with Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds. Great job on that. And I know you have some other stuff that are coming up soon. Can you let us know what those shows are?
Yeah, well, I got a couple of opportunities coming up that I can't really say much about right now. But actually, I'm just working on the screenplay right now that I've written. I'm on a rewrite of it, and it's an extension of my short film, my award-winning short film.
Wow.
And,
All right.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm working on that and, other auditions, but there's a couple of projects that got my fingers crossed for, and then I'll be waiting for Power. And but The Proposal, man, that was a job. I was the first person to audition for the role. His name was Coworker at first. Then, like a month or 6 weeks later, I got a call back, and I was the last person to go to the callback, and I was like the only black dude, the only black person in there. And I went in, and till this day, I don't know why Ann Fletcher hired me, but I got hired for the part, and then like 2 weeks later, they said, oh, you have a name now, your name's Jordan, and you have some more scenes and lines, and so that was cool. But really, man, I look at myself as an actor. That was I think about it, like I was not ready for even that project whenever I got that role, and that was like my first like big thing. I was really nervous and I was really scared, and I was living in Boston at the time when I booked that, and then I came back to LA, and it was like you like starting over. So it didn't even matter that I'd done the proposal, really, But that was a blessing for me, man, and I thank you, Ann Fletcher, for giving me that job. She's the director of that, and so yeah, that's the proposal, man.
All right.
Cool job.
I gotta go back and watch it again. I saw it, but I gotta see it
I've been
again.
able to pay some rent.
Hey.
I bought the DVD, so you got.
Patrick wine.
Speaking of a beat, give us a beat, and let's go into Kenelia's cold piece of the week.
Who should it be? Who should it be? Cold piece of the week for Power, episode 8 of season 2, goes to one part Angela, of course. And mainly because you got to be a cold ass piece to damn near snitch on your boyfriend or your boyfriend's homeboy, his best friend, and to be waiting outside when he comes outside to see you. I don't know about y'all, but that to me was like one of the coldest things. And then partially, I'm gonna give cold piece to Mr. Sean. Not for being PW, but because he's PW to the point where he is about to get killed. Sean is gonna get killed because he's PW. He now thinks Tasha is his man, and he was trying to kiss up on her in the house when the kids in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Sean,
Get it together.
young man, get it together. Let us know who you think Cold Piece or Cold Piece Et should be. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook using hashtag Cold Piece or hashtag Cold Piece Et.
Nobody knows he's hitting it with Kanan, though,
But Kanan wanted to know the blow, like the blow by blow.
Yeah,
Like,
he did.
tell me what it's like. Like, what?
It's so crazy.
Let's go into predictions now.
On God.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, I think my only prediction for today, I think Holly's coming back. I think she's coming back, and she's gonna be basically really there for Tommy now that he's locked up. Let him free Tommy, please.
Yes, free Tommy. So my prediction, and I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. So maybe Dre sides with Ghosts. Maybe he, kind of flips the script on Kanan. I don't know, but then another part is that maybe Tasha, Sean, and Kanan get together. Is that weird? Probably.
And a threesome?
No. Like joint forces. Joint forces.
That's freaky. No, weird.
Different show.
Where your mind at? No, I'm just kidding.
I predict that Dre is gonna die. I'm pulling a Bamm. Dre's toast, and I say that because Sean now has to prove himself, and Dre is always talking about this family. And he want to get off the block, and it's like this sentimental moment. And when you out in the hood in the street, who gets popped? The dude with the kid and the family.
In the dream.
In the dream.
Yep.
He can never fulfill the dream. He gets killed, and that's that. But I think Sean is gonna do it.
Well, speaking of this Sean Dre beef, this beef is bigger than what we think it is. This is like Drake McMill, okay? Drake is actually Sean, and let me tell you why. I agree with you. I originally predicted that Sean's gonna die, but I think that between the two, I think Sean has a lot more to use for season 3. I don't feel Dre character is. Sorry to rotate me, but we don't need you. We don't need him. Sean has to go. Sean has to stay. So I think something's going to go down between the two, and I think it has to do with Ghost. And so I think Sean is going to take Dre out in some kind of bloodbath that's going to happen between Ruiz, the Vlad, the suburbs. I feel like there's going to be a huge bloodbath. And I also think something's going to go down with Kanan, Tasha, and Ghost. And I think Tasha is going to pull her gun out. So,
Well, I'll just say this. I mean,
Because you haven't read any scripts for 9 and 10, right? Oh, you did. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I know what's going on into next season.
Okay.
I mean, vaguely, I kind of know. Just like Joe talked about, I have an idea
Can you give a prediction?
of what's. Yeah, I'll just say, look, when you watch any show or any movie, man. no, I'm serious. It's like, as an actor, you want to earn your death, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I can't say who or what's happening, but we got 2 episodes left, so something's about to go down, right? We know that something's going down in the final 2 episodes. It's gonna hook you and bring you back next season, but you gotta earn your death, man. Otherwise, it's like, who cares?
Yeah. Somebody gonna earn your death.
Somebody earning it.
Gotta earn it, man.
And man, you have definitely earned your way and your right to make it to season 3. We totally wish you the best. So when you are back with season 3, because you didn't die, so you have to come back.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
when season 3, we want you back here on AfterBuzz. Let everyone know where you can be found on social media.
I can be found at Jarrell Lee 8, Jerrell, the number 8, on Twitter and Instagram.
All right, and
You can find me at Janeisha_Miss VI on Twitter and Instagram.
You can find me on all social media at Robin Ayers. And I do want to say thank you guys to YouTubers, Twitters. You guys have been holding us down. Make sure that you send us your predictions as well, and we'll pick the best ones for the next couple episodes.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and on iTunes at Happy Hour Podcast.
And you can find me on all social media at Bamm Ericsen. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV for Power. And special thank you to our guest, Mr. Jarrell Lee Wesley. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.